Where great cigars meet great conversations. This is Papa P's Podcast. And welcome to Papa P's Podcast. I'm Scott Papa P. Partridge. Over on my far left is Del Hickman. Back behind the scenes is Miss Emmy, who keeps us on time and keeps us in line. And I've been excited about this one. I've been, from the start, I wanted to do a podcast with somebody else in the industry that kind of gets the ups and downs, the ins and outs of what we do, and do it in a unique way. And this is Joshua Stump.
Hello.
Founder of Smokers Abbey, originally in East Nashville, still in East Nashville.
Yeah,
but
still there.
We're tickled to have you with us, and we're enjoying a cigar. I am actually smoking the Tim Osgener, Oz Family Cigars World Cup cigar that's coming out soon. So, and it's a great cigar. And what are you smoking on?
Well, I visited your humidor when I got here to see what I didn't have. And
Good for you.
Yeah, and so this is my father, the new one. I think you're
Is that the blue?
not.
This is the red
blue,
one.
The red.
Red, yeah.
That's the one that's like Nicaraguan and
And
Honduran.
Honduran,
yeah. Yeah. So I picked up something I haven't smoked yet.
I do enjoy that. The general consensus here is people like it, but they're still kind of partial to the My Father Blue.
I got
Yeah.
the blue too because
Yeah.
I haven't smoked it
Yeah.
yet.
Yeah,
So that's
and that's from the same factory.
Yeah.
Yeah,
The new,
this is very mild for me. I smoke
Yeah.
pretty heavy, so this is like a
yeah,
let's wake up early and do a podcast cigar.
sure.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't coordinate this with Scott, but I have Oliva V Milanio, the special World Cup soccer version, which is a special shape and size just for this special event. This is a double Toro box press.
Yeah.
And, you know, the Melania V,
lot
Oliva
of-
V
lot of,
Melania is awesome.
Can't go wrong with Elite.
A lot of
No.
special stuff coming out for the World Cup. But you were commenting, we both just spent some time together recently in New Orleans for our big industry trade show. And
That's
it's like,
right.
oh my goodness, everybody's doing something for the World Cup. So,
Right.
Are you a big sports guy?
you know, I am, but I confess, you know, not so much soccer, but I'm learning.
Yeah.
Only because, you know, to watch it on TV, I don't fully understand it, and like I get these ideas of, well, geez, they play for an hour and a half, one team scores, and then sometimes at the end they just say, oh, we're going to add more time to it. but I'm learning that there's quite a people that are into it. It's a passion for them.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
So,
Well, I live in the Arts District in Nashville, in East Nashville. Probably the first guy you have with painted fingernails on. So I don't know anything about sports. It's always on in the shop, and
Yeah.
I ask people questions. And sometimes they have sticks in their hands, and I learned recently that's baseball. And
Well, I guess if there's ice.
oh yeah,
There's-
yeah. Oddly enough, I probably watch hockey more than anything.
Oh, good for
Yeah.
you.
And I don't know why. Just I don't think anybody understands the rules of hockey, so
No.
I'm okay.
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know?
yeah.
But yeah, not a big sport guy. But
mean,
we're doing
I'm-
all the sport promo for the World Cup.
I've recently learned that, you know, for the soccer, for the world, you know, not just World Cup, but of course, you know, we have professional soccer here in Nashville now.
Yeah.
But, you know, I grew up in a very rural country area where our fall sport in school was soccer because we didn't have enough kids for a football team. But we always said, you know, going out on the soccer field. Well, it's not a soccer field.
It's the pitch.
It's a pitch.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, well, shit, I thought that was baseball. Anyway, let's go back to what brought you to this interesting world of cigars? You know, prior to taking the plunge and opening Smokers Abbey,
Yeah.
clearly you enjoyed cigars, and you know,
How'd you get there?
Well, I was kind of late to life. I mean, late in the cigar game in life. I was actually believe it or not, I was a pastor and a church planter.
Right.
Did mission work in different countries and spent most of my adult life doing that.
Right.
So
Thank you.
yeah. And there was this one random afternoon I was doing 3 services at the church, and it was like We had a morning service and then 2 back-to-back evening services. We had a lot of young people, a lot of musicians, artists.
Mm-hmm.
And so I had some guys from the church ask me to have a cigar with them. I hadn't had a cigar with them. I was probably in my late 30s, you know. So I sat down and had a cigar, and it was really, it's like, oh, how do you cut it? What do you do? Like, literally, didn't know anything about it. And I just knew I got the most amazing rush. And, of course, somebody at the time that didn't partake in the beverages or anything, really, the nicotine hit me so hard. I went back and preached maybe the best sermon of my life. I mean, I was just like super jacked up on nicotine and let it rip. And I was like, I got to do this every Sunday. And then it was every day.
So it became a thing.
Yeah. And then it's 5, 6 a day. And so I opened the first Smokers Abbey in East Nashville really without the intention of creating a livelihood, a business. It was just a little tiny space in the hood that nobody wanted, and I think rent back then was like $600 a month. And so I just thought it'd be a cool neighborhood spot to network with people and build community and conversation, kind of get to know our neighbors. And I also, like, in that age bracket that I was working with, there was quite a large epidemic of like lonely single guys, whether they were newly divorced or had never gotten married. And I thought, man, really need to build some community among men. And then it kind of did well, but it was always struggling. We really weren't, you know, our shop was not in an area of wealth at all. Artists and broke people and bartenders and musicians that hadn't made it yet. And so anyways, we just kept hammering away at it. And then at a certain point, it was like, oh, I got to make this a business to keep it open. And so then it kept growing, and then it became franchising because I had other guys who had done nonprofit work or ministry work who also were getting in their 40s and was like, oh, yeah, I'm broke. My kids can't go to school. Nonprofit work is fun until you realize, oh, gosh, I spent my whole life not making any money. So then, of course, cigars are the most logical way to get rich.
Oh, of course. Gold mine.
Another thing I didn't know. So, yeah, I think it was, gosh, almost 6, maybe 7 years before we really turned a profit. But that became, so I helped a former pastor in Austin get one opened, one in Memphis. And actually, Friday I go to Jacksonville, Florida for a grand opening of Smokers Abbey in Jacksonville, Florida.
Well, that's
Good for
very,
you.
very
Yeah.
cool.
Wow, what a great.
Yeah.
Well, I remember your early days, and I actually, you know, came out there several times with some friends of mine who were pipe smokers that loved what you were doing on there, and they felt welcome. And I remember meeting Grant Batson out there a few times, and
yeah, of course.
it was, you created something in an area that really needed something, and what always impressed me about you, Josh, was you were always unique and different in your approach to how you
Still
did this.
guilty.
Yeah, and
Still guilty.
And
Yeah.
and
Don't change it.
say guilty, but man, that's, to me, that's the beauty of what you do.
Right.
Yeah, thank you.
You know, and so in time, because I remember the first few times I was out there, you know, like you say, it was a small operation, but then, you know, I watched in time, and you were growing. I followed your journey, and you know, you had people in there building a new bar, and so did you eventually got some space that was?
Yeah, the first place we had was snuggled between a HUD housing assistance office and a nail salon, I think. And we eventually took over the nail salon and graduated and expanded. And I'm working on the third phase of it now, which is 1,600 square feet that goes to the back alley. So the neighborhood's changed.
Sure.
It's been very gentrified now. There's a lot of very different clients. So so there's a little bit more money flowing through there now. And there is weird things, like in the back alley behind our building is a rave. We used to call them raves. I don't know what they call them now, but dance club.
Yeah.
It's like in the basement underneath their building. And they start coming in there about 10 o'clock at night on
Yeah.
Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and it's packed. There's hundreds of people.
Right.
So the new place will actually face that nightclub in the end. And
You give the entrance and everything.
yeah, and another entrance. It'll be another entrance as we take a hold.
That's smart.
Yeah.
Oh, that's very cool.
Yeah.
Well, for us, it's also like continuing to expand. You know, like every cigar lounge. You know, when your wall of in memory of, you know, your favorite clients that pass, which happens, when that wall starts getting really big, you're like, we got to find some new smokers. Or
Right.
we're just going to age out, and
Yeah.
everybody we loved is dead, and we quit selling cigars.
Yeah.
Well,
Right.
you know, you just said something that
Yeah.
just, you know, stopped me for a minute, because I've encountered that so many times since I've been in the business. And you know, has a, you know, running a place like what you and I do and Dell, you become very attached and you know, with your, what started off as just customers,
Yeah.
in time that they really like kind of extended family.
Oh, for sure.
And when you lose one, it does it.
There's a little hole there.
It hit
Yeah.
you.
Yeah. Well, you mentioned about what you discovered about cigars was connecting men. And that's something that comes up, I'm going to say, almost every podcast. While we don't get into the super details of cigars themselves, flavors and cuts and shapes, what does come up is what you just mentioned, is that everyone, but especially boys, we need a place where we can slow down and talk. And cigars pretty much require that.
Yeah, that's right.
And especially coming from ministry, you recognize that opportunity through a vehicle of this water and tobacco.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, and you saw that happen, and so talked a little bit how that, as you grew from a little space to the next space, and now another space, and franchising, and now in Gallatin as of a few years ago.
Yeah, up in the city of Gallatin. I think for me, I've been, for lack of a better word, gifted at looking at where needs are at, you know? And so at first it was the men. Well, then we have the men, but I'm in a segregated lounge. So I've got the black guys sitting in the back corner and the white guys in the front corner, and they weren't talking or interacting. But I would observe them, and I found out who the natural leaders were, right? So I would bribe them with cigars. Well, here, I'll give you let you try this cigar, but I want you to
Go there.
go up front,
Yeah.
connect.
Yeah.
You know, and I would always share the vision. Sometimes growing something, you have to just share the vision over and over and over and over again. The vision is unity, connection, you know, networking. And it didn't take as long as I thought it would, but now we have a very diverse group, African American and white and Hispanic, and they get along, they work together, they attend each other's kids' weddings, you know, and they do business together. And so then sort of the next phase was the female smoker.
Sure.
And so I found out at PCA last year that we have statistically one of the higher attendance for women cigar smoking. And, you know, they're like, do you have any tips on how you accomplished?
How'd you get the girls?
Don't be a jerk, you know. Don't be a jerk. Don't assume that every woman doesn't know how to smoke a cigar. Don't allow, you know, sexism and misogyny and
Yeah.
the things that make people feel. I just think about that way. No matter what your background is, what would make you feel unwanted in a
Yes.
space?
Yep.
And so now that's kind of grown to East Nashville. You know, we have Republican and Democrat. We have black and white, gay and straight, and atheist, and
Yeah. And this is
the priest, and they're all
this is
talking.
like this great common denominator.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the ultimate, so far for me, and at 57, 58 years old, I've never found something, because I'm fairly new too, is it's a neutralizer.
Yeah.
It's just a conversation starter, and even if we don't agree, we can talk.
Yeah.
It's like the world needs that.
Yeah.
Cigars. So,
Well, basically, you're just trying to do what I feel like the world around us is promoting. You know, they promote fear and disunity to
Yes.
promote your agenda, and I don't think the cigar world is for that. Now, it's in the cigar culture.
It's
Well, yeah.
there. It's
But when
there.
I smell it out, I usually just kind of move on and
Yeah.
don't engage those people.
Well, one thing that we do here is, we will not put the news channels on the TVs. That's,
it does create a lot of stress.
Yeah. I mean,
we call it sports and weather.
people looking for a place to get away from all that.
I've never told you this, but early on, we've been open 6 months or so, and I was in here one afternoon, and you were up front, and one of our regulars said, "Hey, Dale, I know sports and weather, but is there any way we could put Seinfeld on one of these TVs?" And I was like, got to thinking, I was like, well, I grew up, in the 90s, that was it. That's about all I didn't watch a lot of TV at that time. And I said, I don't see why not. And we did that. It was, I don't know if we've done it 2 or 3 times since, but that was kind of because everybody's like, we all know all the episodes, and you're like, this is the close talker.
It's really funny, like way back, I don't know if you remember when Game of Thrones came on Sunday nights, I think. There was a couple of guys in the back. They were like, "Oh, can we watch Game of Thrones?" I'm like, "Well, I guess if you have a login or whatever, you can watch Game of Thrones." So they put Game of Thrones on. Well, that thing grew as this season went on, and there's like 25 people packed in this little room, all sitting like we're watching the fights, but which I guess we were.
Yeah.
And we're just like sitting there, and I was like, "Okay, we gotta expand. If for nothing else, we can." Watch the same TV show without setting each other's lap.
I had that same scenario happen at a shop I had for a while when Duck Dynasty became so
That's
popular.
hilarious. Yeah.
And it started off with a handful that watching Duck Dynasty, and then it grew into a full house each week when a new episode was coming on to watch Cy and Cy and everybody on Duck Dynasty. So
there's yet another idea for us.
Duck Dynasty night.
So, move ahead. What was how did the whole Gallatin location come about?
So Gallatin,
'cause you're literally you're kind of my neighbor up there now. I mean, I literally live. It takes me about 5 minutes to get from my house to your location up there.
So Gallatin, I had moved in the middle of the COVID shutdown to Goodlettsville area, which is north of East Nashville. And we had just moved into this place. It needed a lot of work, and the backyard was muddy, and it was raining, and I had nowhere, we're in lockdown. So I would just get in my truck and drive at night around town and smoke cigars. So one day I was like, I'm just going to drive north up this road. I don't even know where it goes. And I discovered Gallatin. It reminded me a lot of the little town I grew up in Virginia. And it was just a really, a real home kind of small city square,
Yeah, got the old Times Square there.
Yeah, and it was just kind of nice, and I kept driving past this abandoned bank for months. It had a lease sign on it, and anyways, I had just called the number. Had this little guy answer the phone. I say little because I met him, but he, the landlord, he was a little guy, and I met him, and he was like really small and kind of very artistic, and he had a little lap dog in his hand, like a cartoon character, like
Yeah, I can picture
Austin
it.
Powers, kind of like. And he was just like the funniest little guy. But he had he said, "Yeah, no, I can't rent this building. It's a bank. I don't know. Do you have any ideas?" And so I pitched my idea for him for a cigar lounge, and he said, "Yeah, sure, let's do it." And I met a man that would come and, weed whack and clean, and the nicest fella. This man had worked for the other fella since he was 17 years old.
Right.
And anyway, so I built a shop. I'm paying rent. A year or so goes, I haven't really heard anything from the landlord, which is always good.
That's a good
if you
thing.
deal with landlords.
Yeah.
And but I saw the maintenance guy come around, and I said, "Hey, how's the landlord doing?" He says, "Oh, he passed away about a year ago." And I was like, "Oh, poor guy."
Wow.
Jeez.
I should have just laughed about
I know.
that.
That's random,
That wasn't,
I
that was
said,
like a
well-
random thing.
I said, "Well, do you have any idea who I'm paying rent to?"
Where's my check going?
And he goes, "Oh, yeah, you're paying rent to me." I was like, "Oh, I am." I was actually really stoked about it. I was like, "Oh, what? How did it happen?" He goes, Well, I worked for him since he was 17, and to my surprise, he put this building in the will for me. So I'm your landlord. And I'm like, cool. You're a pretty nice guy.
Yeah.
And he'll still come out there. I think he ended up inheriting a couple of properties, but he still comes out there and picks up trash and looks
Yep.
at the bushes and
Fixes the leak.
Yeah.
fixes the leak. But Gallatin just became that. Now, the culture in Gallatin, of course, is very different.
I was going to ask that. How?
Yeah.
I'm sure you real quickly learned what works in East Nashville.
Yeah, it's different. Like, we
It's-
do carry
yeah.
some different products, and we know that it's going to be much more politically conservative.
Mm-hmm.
And, but, at the end of the day, they're all really good, loving and gentle people,
Yeah.
haven't had any problems out of anyone.
Mhm.
And through time, if anything, I felt Gallatin was a little bit more segregated we were kind of on the north side of town, which is a little bit the poorer side, and closer to Hendersonville is more money. And so it took a while kind of like which is, when you live in when you grew up in the actual hood, it's funny to me, but like in a smaller town, people will be like, oh, well, if I go 3 blocks that way, it's all of a sudden dangerous because the rent's a lot cheaper over there. And I was like, no, it's 3 blocks. And really, like, if you live in the city,
It's funny, really, because when I heard you were going up there, in my mind, I was like, man,
like, this guy's screwed.
well, because I did not know whether Gallatin could support a
Yeah.
full-blown
Yeah.
cigar lounge like that, and every indication is that they have, and they've embraced you, and you've embraced the community. I
Yeah.
see you at community functions up there, and I see people on the socials and stuff talking about what you do, and I've been there several times. It's usually kind of a nonchalant. I got a couple friends up there that I'll just call it the last minute and say, hey, let's go have a cigar, And, so it's very cool what you've done, and the fact that you saw an old bank and had a vision that, oh, well, this could be a cigar
It's the right
lounge.
size.
Yeah.
What if? Yeah.
Well, the running joke
we
is.
can have one vault. We can have a humidor in that vault.
Yeah.
Then we got this vault over here we can humidify. It's very cool
Yeah.
what you did up there.
Yeah, we keep the more boutique stuff in the bank and in the bank vault. And then we
Mhm.
have like the manager's office we turn into a humidor for more of your mainline old school
Yeah.
brands. But yeah, the running joke is that East Nashville provides for my hobby of Gallatin.
Mhm.
If it was my only store, I don't know if I
Yeah.
could make it work all the time. But the city's growing and people are catching
It
on.
is.
And
Well, and just as you said, when I remember the area from not too many years ago where between Hendersonville and Gallatin, you had a pretty long stretch of farmland.
Yeah.
yeah, that's right.
And now it's all growing right together.
It never
But you talk about
ends.
the different areas, like that's an older part of Gallatin and stuff, but there's so many hidden gems in that. I'm a big fan. I'm sure you've discovered Top Hog.
Oh yeah, had some top hog last week.
right around the, kind of almost around the corner behind you there.
They still only take cash at the barbecue place.
They'll,
Yep.
That's
they'll
awesome.
let
Those
you
are the
write.
best.
They'll let you write a check too. Yeah.
Yes, I did see
No
a
credit
sign.
card.
I was like, "What's a check?"
Can a Venmo? Yeah.
I mean, it is. You're at. It's this real old area of town. This old rundown building, and it's like just incredible. So, so I commend you for doing that, and I appreciate it because now I have a place to go other than my back deck.
Yeah.
So, I'm going to jump into something, and maybe you want to talk about it, maybe you don't.
All right,
Let's go
do
for it.
As you look back to your journey and what you're doing,
Yeah.
because I know it's hard for me. It's hard to believe. I spent most of my life in the music industry, and I would never dreamt in my wildest dreams that post music I'd be 20 plus years in
Yeah.
the cigar business. But I look back oftentimes, and one thing I've always tried to do, which is what I admire about you, is I know the old term "think outside the box" is cliche, but I have always done that. Try not to do things exactly like everybody else is doing it.
Right.
That's certainly your way of thinking. Have you had things that you regret? Have you tried things that just didn't work that you thought were I mean, even like deciding what cigars to carry. I brought in stuff over the years that I just thought, man, this
is it.
This is it. And I couldn't give the damn things away.
Yeah.
And I brought in stuff that I struggle to smoke, that I sell the daylights out of. But I've always taken chances, and, you know, you always look for taking the chances, and, you know, if half of them work,
That's
good.
dang good.
That's yeah, but what have you encountered in the industry over the years? Because even in the time you've been in it, like for me, I cannot I can't believe how it's changed.
Well, when we opened up, you take a company like Crown Heads, it was just a baby new company.
Yep.
Very small. And
I mean, like 13 original accounts when they first opened.
Yeah, that's right. And so when we started, I really, well, you know, I did what a lot of people do. You nerd out, you get into the internet, and you try to find out the weird stuff, the boutique. So we've always been boutique heavy.
Right.
Over the years, though, I've the boutiques I started out with now, I would say, are like mid-range companies, you know. I mean, back then, Tatawahe would be considered pretty boutique,
right.
You know, 14, 15 years ago. Now I'd say they're, you know, mid-tier, Crown Heads as well.
Yep.
But like we were, you know, the first guys that carried Caldwell. And then back in those days, you probably remember boutique guys were like, well, we're going to do an exclusive. So, like, no one can have this cigar around, whatever. You know, I said, no. Like, that doesn't help launch a boutique.
Right.
So, like, let's change the rules. You get, let's say, at least 3 other shops in town to carry Caldwell, and then I'll keep it. Because if I have the thing that literally no one's ever heard of, like so super boutique, it's very hard to move it. And so I love what we built in this boutique world. I've watched some boutiques get bigger. I would say currently, boutique world is really hard because you don't have these more authentic boutique companies that were there. Now it's like a lot of private label, white label. It's the same. You're smoking the same cigars, but at $5 more. And the economy, of course, is tough. And you have tariffs, and you have all of these things, taxes and tariffs and the like. And so I am much pickier now with the boutique brands because a lot of them just have no track record, and then you invest in them and you push them, and then they're gone.
Yeah, and then all of a sudden, or they're bought and they change.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, that's a whole other conversation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We've seen that happen.
Oh, look who owns everybody now.
Yes.
And look, all the cigars now taste the same. That's right, I said it.
Yep.
Don't get Scott going. As recently as yesterday.
I think we should someday we should go ahead and do a podcast just on that topic.
Yeah. On how every favorite cigar has been ruined by the same freaking people.
And I'm almost 63 years old, and I've learned that as I've gotten this old, my filter is going away.
Yeah.
And
he blasted somebody yesterday. Let's just say it.
Dell will even every once in a while walk in, and I'm on the phone with somebody, and I'm letting them, but listen, don't try to bullshit the consumer because they know.
Yeah.
Right.
Then
you put us in a bad spot.
Yeah.
But
and we're the gatekeeper in a way.
Yeah.
So like we have to interview all of these new companies to find out if they're full of crap. And then you spend as much time with the mega corporate companies seeing if what they're telling you is crap. And a lot of times it is. So you're right. You end up, especially, I like starting my conversations like this. Look, what I'm about to say, you're going to think I'm a complete asshole. I know authentically that I'm not, but it will appear that way. Secondly, this is not personal about you.
right.
I'm sure you are a wonderful guy, and maybe in the future, you and I will be really good friends. In fact, one of my closest friends in the industry, Chris Carey.
Oh, yeah.
He worked, we hang out all the time.
Great guy.
Yeah, he spent the night at my house. Like, we have traveled together. We've had a great time. But This guy, when he worked for Alec Bradley, we were friends for 2 years and never bought a single cigar from him because I was like, this is not what we're doing right now.
This is not where I want to be.
This is not the. This is
As
not.
a business owner, I don't want to be there.
Yeah, and
But
it's
you're
not
a good dude.
There's not that there's anything wrong with, with that brand at the time. We just had such a small humidor. I just didn't have space for it, and which is the case
It's
for a lot of
legit.
times.
We have this same issue.
Yeah,
Where would I put that?
yeah. Where am I going to put
Let's
it?
just say we liked it. Where would we put it? And then that kind of can cool the
And then the
jets.
next question is, who's getting tossed?
Well, it's on that topic, for the years you've been in it, like I can almost peg when we get a new rep for a company.
Yeah.
I can almost peg they're going to make it. I give this guy 6 months.
Oh yeah, for sure.
But Chris is a great example of one that I followed him through his, most of his career, and I started doing a little business with him with Alec Bradley, not a lot, just for the same reason. I just didn't. Number one, I didn't have a ton of people asking for it, and I didn't have the space. But then he moved on to that next company, and I'm like, oh my goodness. And
He moved on to the company I swore I would never, ever do business with. Just for me.
Yeah.
A mega corporation.
Yeah.
But then they bought everyone I loved, and so I'm like,
Oh,
oh.
hell's bells. At
So
least I
you
know
went
Chris.
to work for the devil at the same time they bought all the brands
Yeah.
that I just spent the last 6 years promoting. I guess we're
Yeah.
doing business now.
But in time, that product that you spent them that many years promoting, once they became part of that corporate world, that product changed
Oh, of course.
in time.
Yeah.
And
Well, Chris is wound up in the right spot.
Yeah,
I think Chris
he
is in a
is.
cool place now, but it's been neat, and it's kind of funny what you said about some of the companies and reps coming in, because I never intended this, but apparently I have a reputation out there of being a tough one to crack.
It's,
Oh,
the
really?
it's the beard.
Okay.
Okay.
And it's funny because I've even heard reps go to other shops and or reps go to other reps, because it's a big
They all
business,
know.
but they all know each other.
They
and
asked,
stuff.
how do you get into Papa
How,
P's?
yeah, and I'm like, and a lot of times it's just a matter of, we recently brought in a couple of lines that it was just, I didn't dislike them. It was just a case of I needed to be the right time.
Yeah.
It does me no good.
Timing
no
and
good
space.
to bring your stuff in and throw it on the bottom shelf, and a lot of times it's just a matter of, I recently did this with Espinosa, which I think makes some great cigars, but literally ran into
Gavin?
him at the show, and Gavin and Gavin has worked for 3 years to try to get his product in here.
Yeah.
But he was never, excuse my language, he was never an asshole about it.
Yeah, he was nice.
He came in, he was nice, and
And ironically, Espinosa is the second or third highest selling cigar. We carry the whole line. And it wasn't like that, though. It took him a while to get it in.
Yep. Well, Scott knew the brand, and one thing's led to another. And now Gavin and Espinosa are here, and I suspect future that'll have
Yeah,
a
it's
little
just
more.
recent.
Plus, if we're talking crap, let's go here for a second. Old Guy cigar, right? They pitched this to me. I said, celebrity cigars, celebrity endorsed stuff. I don't care, sports, actor, whatever. I don't do them because they're not good. That is the only cigar that has worked.
Oh,
Yeah.
it's great.
Yeah.
I know, and it kills. Like I just keep putting this cigar out,
and
and
I
It's
like
legit.
it's so
It's just-
weird.
it's like opposite. It just
Mr.
happens to have guy's name on it.
Yeah.
Or it doesn't have his
You
name.
really don't.
he doesn't want his
the
name.
knuckle sandwich. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's really, really good.
I was talking to somebody the other day. It's probably the only real celebrity endorsed cigar that has had longevity and worked. And he doesn't even keep the money from it. He goes into his
Goes right.
nonprofit.
Yep, goes
You
right
know,
to his.
and you get that on the with us having a full bar here and stuff, and Dell's very involved in ownership of wine and liquor store. It's that same scenario there.
Oh yeah.
A celebrity, they'll
they
be
have
in
a
that
merchant
brand,
sale, yeah.
they'll put their name on it, and
One out of 10, maybe generously 1 out of 5, 10 or 20%. are good to really good. The rest of them, it's just passing through almost.
Yeah.
And some of them shockingly fail.
And
You'd think that the name would take it and they have a decent product, but they don't.
There are a certain element of people that will buy it just because of that name on it, but the reality is if it's not decent product. We recently had a brand, and I won't bring it up, but I'll ask you afterwards because maybe you have them, but it's a well-known celebrity.
It's coming up.
Well, it'll be a better thing to guess.
Well-known celebrity in the world of fighting.
Oh, okay, yes.
And but they sent me, samples and stuff, and for me personally, I just thought, and I gave Dell a couple.
He didn't even tell me what it was, so it
I
made the
said,
story even better.
This is, in my opinion, just not a good cigar.
Well, I always say there are only 3 types of cigars on the market. There are cigars you remember because they're fantastic. There are cigars you remember because they're that bad. And everything else is just a cigar.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of just cigars.
Yeah.
And it doesn't mean they're horrible. They're just cigars.
Yeah, nothing wrong.
You
Well,
know.
and I kind of go back to, all my years in the music industry. To me, I think if a cigar is rolled well, constructed well, has a nice draw and a good burn, for me, it's a good cigar. Everybody's palate
Yes.
taste.
The
is-
three of us
is
are gonna be
com-
different on that.
Completely
That's
different.
right.
And it used to be that way with, music reviews. People would read some of the worst reviews from music critics that I ever read were some of my favorite music I ever listened to, and
Sure.
and vice versa. But it's funny, and we should, because I'm at this point in life where I don't care. I do care, but I'd love to sit down with you and do a podcast about the industry in general, because
Yeah.
I think we have a lot of common.
I think we just set that up.
I-
We'll come to you next
Yeah,
time. Yeah.
I think we got a lot of common
Yeah.
feelings
Thoughts.
about a lot of things.
Well, I have a question related to cigars and markets, boutique, specific to having your 2 locations here in Middle Tennessee. And you talked about them being different. I know the answer is yes, but how different are your sales of stores that are 20, 30 minutes apart? 30 minutes apart.
Well, certainly north up in Gallatin, our sales are less.
I'm talking
There's
about
less
cigars.
people.
But
But
what gets smoked?
yeah, I have personally, what's a good way to say it? I have personally compromised my own likes and dislikes to get the consumer what they want.
Well, you have to.
Well,
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah.
So East Nashville, like Crown Heads, Foundation, Espinosa, of course Placencia does well, and I will sell those brands as well in Gallatin, but it's to a smaller percentage. So they like all this, everything under Scandinavian. They want, they smoke the Alec Bradleys, and they smoke all of the boutique lines that were bought out, and they smoke CAO, and they smoke Perdomo, which Perdomo was just one brand that everybody already smoked. So for me, I was like, every store in the city carries Perdomo. It's not personal. I don't need to carry Perdomo. Everyone has it. Everyone.
That's
It's probably like
it's a really good way to look at it.
Yeah, everyone has it. I want to do something different. And it was just at the show this year, now in Gallatin, 4 years in, that I carried Perdomo for the Gallatin store.
Yeah.
Just because I got tired of having
That question.
that same question.
Yeah.
Well, that's a brand for us that's big and just beyond Steady Eddie and Scott's. That's a great example of a brand and probably being a big national, international, well-known. It's still shop to shop.
Yep.
And I'm sure that Nick and Nicholas know that, but you've been doing that such a long time. Well, both of you have.
Like Perdomo is a brand here that I don't need to work real hard at selling.
Yeah, it's just a staple.
Yeah. And Nick has a Middle Tennessee following. I mean, we've had him here the last 2 years in a row. He's come here. And, I mean, it's like a huge night for us. You know that. But he just has this following here, and I think I do think it's good product, and but people, I'll have other companies come in and they'll say, well, if I had that much space in your humidor, I'd sell that much product too, and I have to stop them and said, no, I don't think so. You wouldn't know it to look at me, but I'm a numbers geek. And for the most part, every inch of my humidor is dictated by sales.
By the customer. That goes back to what you're doing too, Joshua. Yeah.
Yeah.
We can't do everything.
Yeah. Now, I think this has to be said. So if I get 4 boxes of something in, right, one of those might go to Gallatin, the other 3 will be in Sifley Boutique, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But if you get anything that's in the Deadwood family, that's like 40 boxes. Well, 2 will stay in East and 38 go to Gallatin. And part of the joke is like, these guys just smoke like ungodly amounts of Deadwood,
fat
bottom Betties and
Here
Sweet
I am
James.
in the heart of Williamson County. Cannot believe how much Deadwood. I mean, I can believe it. It's crazy.
Scott orders that every week.
We started
to the point.
started buying some of the Deadwood
Master case.
cases.
I just bought my first master case.
Yeah.
I bought 2 master cases this year.
Yeah.
And I think, I don't know for sure, but I think that Drew Estate's investment in Cigars for Warriors like a decade ago put that on the map, because we have so many, amazing veterans and stuff up in Gallatin. But I see the vet come in and I go, he's going to want this.
We talk
a lot of
about what's
times.
happened in our industry, and so many mergers and buyouts and stuff, and ultimately they'd never go great for the consumer and for the retailer.
Right.
We
It could
can't
do pretty good for the guy that sells it.
We can't, and we can't.
Good for
speak,
him or her.
We can't speak for the shareholders, but I will say, there was all kinds of, when we learned that Drew Estate that Jonathan was selling to Swisher International, a lot of people scratching their head.
Oh no!
But I think it's worked great for him.
Yeah.
And it really, you didn't see very few changes on the premium cigar side. I think that was a case of a big, giant worldwide company saying, we're missing this part of the industry.
Yeah.
And people keep trying to replicate it, and it doesn't really work.
Doesn't work.
No.
It hasn't worked.
No.
And good for them, and good for us.
I don't have to smoke them.
But no, it's sort of like, and it's not all that Deadwood stuff. It's I'd say we do have a lot of female customers here. We got female locker holders, but I'd say 70% of our Deadwood sales are from males. So,
Oh yeah.
yeah, it's
Young
very,
and old and everything. It's a good example of a unique product that fits a demographic that's very wide.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I have this crazy idea, and I've never reached out to you, but I've thought about it a lot.
Here it goes.
I may have
We've
run
had
this.
2 of these
I've even
already.
ran this by Dell. I said, I think we should put together a Middle Tennessee Cigar Day and figure out how to do it, whether it be getting a big party bus or something, but make our rounds, here to your East Nashville location, up to Gallatin. And I'm sure there's a couple other locations that we could throw in to kind of give everybody a taste of
Let's share
Middle
the love in
Tennessee
it.
and what
Yeah,
we do.
really.
Yeah. Because by and large, I certainly have some people in the industry that don't think highly of me. But for the most part, this is a very unique industry where people get along.
Let me pause you, Scott. Let me pause you for a second. Everybody likes you.
He looks like Santa Claus.
I've literally never listen. I can tell you who is not liked. Okay, you're not on the list. You're
I
not on the
appreciate
list.
hearing
Everybody likes you. I never hear anybody say anything negative about you. And honestly, your reputation goes a long way. Right?
I greatly appreciate that.
Yeah.
I actually heard the other day.
I'm glad you said that because I'm kind of tired of saying it.
It's true, though. It's absolutely true.
But it really is. It's I think we're all in this together, and you touched on earlier. I mean, for people to think that we get into this industry and we're going to become wealthy people doing so, no, it don't work that way. But what
Listen,
I love
I had a morning this morning, and everybody asked me for a job, and I said, "There's no job openings. I haven't replaced anyone.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they stay.
Yeah.
They stay. By the way, I love your guy up front. He was amazing. We had a good chat.
I
He
was great.
he's such a great guy. I enjoyed my conversation with him. But, yeah, we don't replace employees. What were you talking about now? I've already
we were going to do the get together and do
get together.
a
Yes,
little tour.
So I was saying yes, reputations matter.
Mm-hmm.
And when I first opened, now this year will be 15 years. 15 years ago, and you remember that 15 years ago, there was a whole lot more what I would call like toxic blood. There were just people that worked in this industry that had a chip and they're gossipy and they're all that stuff. And I don't really feel like the city's like that anymore. I
don't think so either.
Because reps talk about other cities where the guy on this side of the shop, they're fighting and everybody's fighting. And I don't really feel like we have that kind of bad blood. I can go to any shop in town and be able to get along with people.
I feel the same way, and I'm like, and in the big picture of things, when we sit back and really take this all in, I'll have people come in here and say, well, how's your day going? And my answer is, man, I sell cigars for a living. I really don't have a lot of bad days.
Most of the time, that's the way it is.
Yeah.
This morning, I was like, someone write me a check. I will leave town.
But you're coming down south to visit us. It's going to be a good day.
I know.
I tell, and I don't know all the details of your business, but I can just tell by the success you've had and what you've been able to do. I do think a lot of people get into this business, and their thought is, man, I'm going to be able to smoke cigars all day and hang out. I can tell you also get the concept. It's a business, and you got to run it as such.
Oh yeah. I think you guys are like golf pros. Think golf pro assistants. They get into the industry and they get that first job, second job, and they're going to get to play golf all day, and just that's not what happens.
Well, we've also established I'm big on sports, right? So I did 9 holes once. 9 holes. That's not even the whole game, is it? It was like it was like a fundraiser, right? I did 9 holes, and I was walking back to my car, and I was like, I'm freaking exhausted.
Yes.
Man. This sucks. People pay money to do this.
I do it 4 times a week.
People pay money to go out here and walk and sweat, and then your arms hurt from swinging the club, and then you're demoralized because you suck at it.
That's right.
And sometimes that's what I equate. Sometimes the cigar business can be like that. Like you're like, oh, everyone, hey man, are you? No, and you don't want this life. You don't want it.
Yeah.
Go away.
Yeah, it's not.
But sure, I'm gonna start saying what you say, even if I don't believe it.
Yeah.
Man, I smoke cigars, man. My life is so good.
No, but you do. You have
Hey,
to. I've seen people get into this business and just not realize, oh, it's a business and you have to run it as such. And I liken what I do to, and all the times I've been around you and seen you operate. What I'm thinking and doing in my office on the
When you're entering orders and
that
mad at
half of it.
XYZ because of the bad invoice.
Yeah.
You check your invoices?
Yesterday he did in detail.
Yesterday it did in detail and prompted me to send a
Nasty gram.
when you get
It's God knows how much money I'm losing. I just try to put it on the shelf. I don't even have time to look at it. I guess at the price. I don't know.
In our industry, there's lots of companies, but there's two big corporate operations
That
let's
have
put it that
invoice
way.
issues.
You know, when you get one box of cigars from one of the big giant things that, number one, is should have come weeks ago on the order, but you're back ordered on one.
Oh, when they send you one box. Oh, I
Yeah.
know who you're talking about.
Yeah, you know, and then you take
I
a
knew-
look at the invoice and, well, you just, for one box of cigars, you charged me like $80 in import fees
And shipping.
and shipping. But then, well, what's this down here? This is one of the big companies that happens to pay our Tennessee state tobacco tax. Oh, you charged me $117 Tennessee state tobacco tax on that $200. So, you know, I naturally stopped and didn't process that invoice and sent off the
That was his
email.
equivalent to your person asking for a job.
Yeah. So when I
So then, this morning I did get a response from this big corporate company and said, "Oh, we had some billing issues and we thought we sent you a corrected invoice."
How long is it going to take you to get that credit?
You know, well, no, you didn't.
Forever.
But it does. It makes me think, well, how many small shops and stuff around the company don't pay attention to that and realize that, I mean, I literally would have had to add $3 to $4 per cigar to cover what they were charging me on this invoice. That was completely wrong. But anyway,
No, y'all are. It's just cigars.
yeah.
Well, you have to deal with the same thing with liquor, right?
Yeah, and I spent 33 years in construction, and what we would always say, and it's universal, if it wasn't for the people, we wouldn't be in business, but the people create the problems.
Yeah.
And that's at every level.
Mhm.
And the product usually is not the problem. There's better cigars than others, but the product isn't the problem.
Yeah.
It's the people
Yeah.
or the system. One thing that we dealt with in construction that was beyond all of our control that we kind of don't have to deal with, but a little bit, is the weather. But a really, really rainy night slows down attendance.
Yeah, but you know, for me, Joshua, when I go back to all my years of music, when I'm not doing the actual business side of it, I kind of liken it to the same thing. It's basically, to me, it's like entertainment. When that person walks in the front door, if they had a good experience when they're here, they're going to come back.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I'd think about, you know, for years, it didn't matter whether I was playing for, 300 people at this little tiny obscure county fair out in the middle of nowhere, or playing a theater with a few thousand, 4, 5, 6,000 people. Those people paid their hard-earned money to buy a ticket to come see us play. And if they didn't, it didn't matter to me. I always gave them 100%. And in that way, I knew if I come back 2 years from now to this same little town, those people are going to come back. And it's the same thing as what we do
Yeah.
here.
And
It's a personality
and for
business.
everything related to Smokers Abbey, your enterprise, all you hear is excellence. And it's really great that you're sitting here with us.
Yeah.
But at the same time, that is because of what you've done.
Yeah,
and-
you're one of the good guys in this business, and
And I will say, have you been to
Likewise.
Smokers Abbey?
likewise what you said
You need to check
earlier.
that out.
I've
So-
never heard a bad word about you or your businesses. You know,
Oh, that
it's
is
very
a
cool.
shocker.
And it's very.
You must not talk to credit card processing people much.
Oh,
This is about the customer experience.
Oh, yes, yes. I was going to say, because my one rule is, I tell all my franchise stores, now when the guy selling credit card processing comes in, you got to pounce on him immediately. Humiliate him. Get him down on the ropes. And then maybe he'll never come back.
I literally had one yesterday call that told me that they were a unique credit card processor in the sense that they had deals with every major cigar manufacturer, and this credit card processor would pay me rebates from the cigar companies for every transaction I had. And I couldn't help it. I was just in one of my moods where I decided to play along.
Oh my goodness.
Lo and behold.
So if I called, let's say, Mr. Padron,
yeah.
what kind of rebates am I getting?
Yeah.
I don't think that
But,
exists.
well, we appreciate you being here.
Oh, thank you,
And I've been
guys.
wanting
Thank
to
you
do
so
this
much.
for a long time because I've followed your journey from day one, and we got a lot of great mutual friends, and it's very cool what you've done and how and I hope for nothing more than it to keep growing for you.
Yeah, thank you very much.
And thank you for going into Gallatin. You know, now when I've been married almost 45 years. I know it's hard to look at, to the same lady.
Wow.
And I've
Congratulations.
learned how to work it where you never want to make her mad, but you want to get her to the point where she'll say,
Go
"Why don't
smoke
you
a
go over
cigar?"
to the Abbey and
Yeah.
have a cigar? Call Mike and have him meet you." It's all right. So, but it's very cool. I love even up there. I love what
promise
you've
not to
done.
overload the dishwasher.
Yeah, I love what you've done up there, and
But I'll go smoke a cigar.
Yeah.
and, you know, it's just in general. I like how you franchised out, and real quick, you still involved in ministry and
I'm in the shop, I guess.
Yeah.
Like just
I mean,
human connection, but
you've married
unofficially,
people in
no.
there.
Oh yeah, yeah.
You've conducted weddings.
Conducted weddings
Yeah.
in the cigar shop. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I admire
Yeah.
that aspect of what you do
Yeah,
in
what a
life
great
as well. And
life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's the ministry world is quite demanding. So
yeah, oh yeah.
I took a sabbatical and haven't gone back. Maybe I will.
But
one
you
day,
but
but I haven't.
you're still involved.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're never
Well,
done.
it's it's still in your heart, and I found even hearing what we do, you kind of learn, and I went through a rough couple of years on a personal level with my mother being a caregiver and stuff, and just blown away how many times just a customer, somebody said, I'd like to say a prayer for you,
Mhm.
Yeah.
and it means the world to you.
Yeah.
And for what you do, to know that you're there for them
Yeah.
They need to.
if there's a need, you're there
Yeah.
for them. So
Now that prayer might get a cuss word every once in a while, but
But you know,
it'll
nothing
be
wrong with
sincere.
that.
Appropriately.
Yeah. Well,
It's been great.
This has been great. I'd love to do it again. I'd love to,
Yes.
definitely stay in touch with you. And
I'll moderate Scott and Joshua talk
yeah,
industry.
yeah.
The ups
This-
and downs of each
Yeah.
cigar brand they carry.
I did learn that. We think a lot alike with certain cigar companies and stuff, and maybe at some point we'll do a show on that.
I think so.
So
A cigar,
it's been good.
a company roast. There you go.
Hey, we appreciate you watching and listening. And real quick, give them the addresses of your
Yeah,
Middle Tennessee places.
East Nashville is 604 Gallatin Avenue, Suite 102. That's right up from the Titans football stadium.
Mm-hmm.
And then we're up in Gallatin at 240 West Broadway.
Yep.
And that's right off the square in Gallatin. Then opening up Jacksonville, Austin, Texas, up in Cedar Park, and Germantown in Memphis.
Well,
That's awesome.
Very
Yeah.
good. I'm so happy that it keeps growing for you. And if you're ever down here, if you're in those locations, make sure you stop in and see him, and tell him Papa P told you to stop in and see him. If you're here in the Cool Springs, Franklin area, we're at 1935 Mallory Lane, Suite 220 in beautiful Franklin, Tennessee. We're just 2 doors down from Cool Springs Wines and Spirits. You can follow us on all the socials and Facebook and Instagram and the TikTok. I had to have my 10-year-old grandson show me how to do a lot of that stuff, but it's worked so far. Love to have you stop in and see us. Thank you, Josh.
It's been a great.
Thank
great
you.
This has been
class. Thank you.
fantastic. Love to do it again.
See you
Take care,
soon.
everybody.
Bye.
Bye-bye.